of having the 23 pairs of chromosome, they tend to have an extra copy of chromosome 21. So Down syndrome is also referred to as trisomy 21. So therefore, instead of 46 chromosomes, they tend to have 47 chromosomes in certain situations. And this results in certain distinct features in the appearance of the child, as well as developmental delays in the child, and mild to moderate intellectual disability. Some of these distinct features that we see in some of these children include having a flat nose or flat nasal bridge, short neck, small ears, almond shaped eyes, small hands and feet. Sometimes they also present with hearing and visual problems, as well as in some cases, congenital heart defects.
Hmm, that's a lot to take in. So now, having had an understanding of what exactly Down syndrome is, we we would then want to know, in trying to understand, in trying to get to learn, trying to get to know how Down syndrome affects people, and especially with our theme being togetherness. If we are being together, let me ask, in your experience, are they lonely? Are people who have Down syndrome lonely?
In my experience, a couple of them are lonely due to stigmatization and isolation within our community. So they don't feel that sense of belongingness or connectedness when it comes to mingling with other children. Some families may not even want their children to mingle with other kids who have this condition. Or even in schools, some schools may not even want to enroll children with Down syndrome.
Hmm. So if Louisa has shared with us her perspective, let me ask the family that actually has a child living with Down syndrome. I'll start off with Auntie Aggie. Auntie Aggie,
Yes.
I know today is a sharing day because yesterday we were celebrating. We went on a party walk. Help me know. Is it true they are lonely? Or people living with Down syndrome are lonely, since you are the advocate for people or persons with Down syndrome?
I must say that Down syndrome is caring for persons with Down syndrome is a difficult situation. You see, I always say that um, one gets pregnant and you have aspirations for your child. If this child is a girl, I'm going to call her Toda. If she's a boy, I'll call him Stephen. And then I had wanted to have university education. I couldn't have. I want my child to pursue that academic height for me. So I'll be proud in my child. But if the diagnosis comes that this child that you have all these aspirations for cannot actually be who you have envisaged her to be, it's difficult. And that alone will put you in isolation if you don't take care of yourself. I remember when I had told her, and I was told the very first day I had her that she looked like a child with Down syndrome. I didn't really know, I don't remember I've heard Down syndrome before, much as I've seen persons like her. I did not know that the condition is called Down syndrome. And I didn't know what Down syndrome entails. Also, I wasn't even informed that day that because my daughter looks like a child with Down syndrome, this and that is what to expect. So that alone sets you thinking. And then if you don't take care and you come home and people realize that your child looks different, and if you don't take care, you put yourself in isolation. I remember a parent I met, somebody introduced me to her. And then she was telling me that she didn't want to live and stay with her daughter, with her son. Yes, she has had two children in 4 years. In the 5th year, she had a boy who had Down syndrome. She was telling me that the family of her husband are saying that Oba wa saying, "Wa pro. Sisi asha akwala bi awako." So she didn't want to even stay home for people to come visiting and see that he has a child with Down syndrome or with a child that looks different. So if you don't take care right after birth, you are put in isolation, either by yourself or by your family. I believe that I know that not with my family, but I know that some families don't even want to also associate themselves as a child with disability who is going to tarnish the image or the name of the family. So some families also will not accept you and will not encourage you or even help you to bring up this child. So right from birth, if you don't take care and are strong in within yourself, you are isolated. I always tell my parents that fighting loneliness is not from anybody. It should come. It can come from other persons, but you yourself will have to tell yourself that I want to accept myself, accept my child, and then go out there because people even hide their children, and that is self-imposed loneliness. You hide your child. You yourself who have had a child with a disability or a child with Down syndrome is ashamed of somebody seeing your child. So how do you expect the public to treat you if you yourself are not accepting your child? So it is not easy. I was depressed. I had to go through counseling sessions after I have told her. I must say that it is a difficult situation, but with help, with encouragement, and knowing that there are other persons who have children with Down syndrome who can encourage you to walk this journey, it makes it much more easier.
So I must say that I have heard your experiences a couple of times, but unfortunately, probably our audiences, they have no idea. Could you share with us how it was like getting to have a diagnosis? How was it like? Please help us know.
Yes, like I have already said, I was told the very first day that by the gynecologist that my daughter looked like a child with Down syndrome. And he told me that because it's not his specialty, the pediatrician was coming the following day to examine Toda thoroughly and then confirm his suspicion. So the pediatrician came. It was a Wednesday. I gave birth on Tuesday. The following day, Wednesday, the pediatrician came. She also examined her and she confirmed that my daughter has Down syndrome. So I resorted to asking every nurse who came around because I gave birth through cesarean. I had to stay in the hospital for a couple of days. So I was asking every nurse who came around what is Down syndrome. What is Down syndrome? And they were telling me, just like physiotherapists have said, it is the triplication of the 21st chromosome, and it is another chromosome for Mentibida. So what is this? So then I resorted to researching and I was reading. And so at the hospital, I told my husband, told his father who lives in America. He had gone back to the States after I got pregnant with Toda. So when I gave birth to Toda, he wasn't in Ghana. So I informed him that I had given birth to a beautiful girl. But they are telling me that she has Down syndrome. And then he was also asking me what is Down syndrome. And I said that they said it's a kind of disability that is associated with intellectual disability and developmental delays. And then he told me there that in their family they don't have anybody like that. So say wo na wakọ wo ba bisadia and the obefa oba. And I thought he was joking. But true to his word, I've never set eyes on him since I had Toda. He wouldn't even come to name Toda. I had to beg him, actually beg him to ask his family to come and name Toda so that I can start my normal life. And so his family came to name Toda, and that was it. It was like joke. I never have seen him again. He tells me that I should go to the market, pick things from the ground, and cook with that for Toda. And somebody has told me that if I don't buy stuff from the market and I pick them from the ground and cook for Toda, Toda will heal. And then I said, no, I cannot do that. And he said that if you are not doing that, and no. And then I was faced with divorce. And I was actually faced, I don't even know the word to use. I was faced with divorce, and I was faced with raising a child with disability all by myself. I sank into depression without even knowing that I was depressed. Thanks to my son. One day he was watching me, and he has been watching me cry and cry, and has been seeing me that I've not been the person I used to be. So he asked me, are you depressed? And then I started thinking, depressed. I realized that you sink into the depression without you yourself realizing that you have depression. If you don't have somebody who is watching you closely to see that you are not the person that you used to be, certain things you are doing are not adding up. You might sink deeper and deeper without you realizing it. So it was actually my son who brought me to my senses that something is wrong with you. I realized that I also need help. So I resorted to counseling sessions, and this is where I am today.
Thank you for availing yourself and making sure that you get the support that you need. And thank you also, David, for prompting Mommy to get the needed help that she needed to get. So now let me ask you, David, in getting to hear that you have a sister who would be living with Down syndrome, how was it like for you? In the beginning, were you all, oh yeah, we can do it, we can move through it? How was it like for you? How was the acceptance? How did you feel? Kindly share with us. Okay, if you can hear me, David, can you hear me?
I think David is experiencing network issues.
Yeah, some challenges. So then if we are back. So David, can you share with us what you also felt? How was it like for you in the beginning? How did you feel? Were you all welcoming to what the news Mommy brought home?
I'm sorry, I keep lagging off. I'm having internet connection issues, so my apologies for that. So when the news was shared, it was to be honest. I was in school then. I was in high school when my mother was pregnant. So I was in boarding school. So I didn't know. She had told me that she had given birth. So, like she said earlier, when you hear news like that, you usually have your own expectations of what the person is going to be and how they're going to grow up to be, and you set up goals for themselves, and it's like you're already putting them on a pedestal without them even having started crawling or even walking. So that's when I saw that she had very unique and peculiar features. So I started questioning. I was like, no, this girl, there's something that is off. I can't really put my finger on it, but then I could realize I realized that there's some features which didn't had seen in it. So I remember asking my mother about it, and then she just started crying. She broke down. So I hope you can hear me because it says my internet is unstable.
Don't worry, we can hear you. So you can go on, please.
Yes. So it was after I had investigated and I realized that she had Down syndrome. To be honest, it wasn't something easy to accept because I was an only child at that time. So that was my first sister, and I was 18 years older than her. So she was basically my sister and my child at the same time. And having to now learn about what Down syndrome was and coming to terms with it, it wasn't something that was it was easy for me. It was something that was very challenging. I had to read a lot about it, and even that it was just getting myself mentally prepared, but emotionally I wasn't prepared because I realized that I was not really embracing her as she should be because of the conditions that she had. And I didn't even realize that I wasn't until I realized that I wasn't ready to fully show her off to my friends and my other colleagues that I happen to, it took time
Okay,
for me
David.
to really embrace her. I wouldn't, yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so I was just going to suggest that if it's possible for you to turn off your video, so at least we save some bandwidth power and then we go on, please. Yes.
Sure. So yes, it took some time. I wouldn't say that I was depressed or lonely. Maybe if I was, I didn't really notice it because loneliness and depression are different in every individual, and some people have they're high functioning, they're depressed people. So probably I might have some traits of a person who was lonely and depressed, but I really didn't understand. Probably I didn't notice it. But it took some time for me to accept her and embrace her. And when I did, I realized that my outlook on life had changed. So probably I was a bit depressed.
Hmm. So from a sibling's perspective, it's not easy to have to get to hear this, that your own sibling that you thought you were going to share all those aspirations that you had, it's not going to go the way that you had thought it would go. The line is going to change a bit. There are going to be some bumps here and there. However, after taking some time, going through all the grieving processes and all that, now what next? What can we do? Let me hop on to Louisa. Lulu, so from the perspective of a physiotherapist, how does physical development influence social interaction in children with Down syndrome?
Okay. We know that Down syndrome is characterized by delay in motor development or the developmental milestone of the child. And these delays can make it difficult for the child to play or interact with his or her friends. And it restricts their movement as well, because once the child is not able to move about, if other kids are playing around, that child will not be able to involve in that particular activity. So, by way of physiotherapy, we improve muscle strength and also help improve mobility and functional independence in the child. So, this boosts the quality of life of the child and overall well being of the child. Thereby, the child is now able to mingle among other people in the society and not be a burden on the family.
Hmm. Oh, then let me ask, what are some of the things that you do in terms of mobility? Can you share some with us?
Well, every child and the severity of the condition that they present with, some may be mild, some may be moderate, others may be severe. And so, depending on the assessment and what the child needs, then we tailor our therapy towards that child's particular needs. So, maybe a child who has poor neck control and is not able to roll, you know that this child definitely is going to take a long time to be able to sit or stand. So then we start with neck and trunk control exercises, core strengthening exercises, rolling activity on the floor, just to improve the muscle tone and build strength in the muscles. Because they lack postural control when it comes to the Down syndrome. Their challenge mainly is postural control. So we are able to get them to improve their muscle tone, especially when they come to the core muscles, and get them to align their neck and their trunk. Then you can improve them in sitting, and then from there progress to maybe crawling, standing, and walking. I must say that when it comes to Down syndrome, most of the children with Down syndrome are unable to crawl on all fours because of how flexible they are. You know, they are very hypermobile. And so even when they want to sit, they have a particular way they transfer from lying to sitting. So you get them to sometimes crawl, either bottom shuffling or not even crawl at all. Just a few are able to sometimes actively crawl on all four. So these are some of the things that we do to improve strength and promotes functional independence and mobility in children with Down syndrome.
Auntie Aggie, let me ask, did Toda need any form of therapy in terms of, let's say, physio, for instance? Or does she need any form of therapy?
Yes, therapy is very important for persons with Down syndrome. But I live in denial for close to 2 years because I got married to Toda's father when I was advanced in age. I had Toda when I was 47 years. And then when I got married, he was pestering me for to give him a child. So I told myself that at that age, I didn't want to go through fertility treatment, that I was going to resort to prayer. So I asked God to replace my organs so that I can be able to have children without fertility treatment. So I went to Shiloh with the Winners Church. I went to Nigeria with the Winners Church. It was a 1 week intensive prayer program at Shiloh with the Winners Church. So after Shiloh, I came back and I found myself, he was also coming back from the US around the time. So by the time we went back, I was pregnant. So it was praise God, praise God, praise God. God has answered my prayer. And I'm pregnant without fertility treatment at 46. I remember when I went to the hospital, the nurses, when I told them my age, they said it was menopause because I was 46 years. I said, no, you let me go through the process and then confirm whether it is menopause or pregnancy. So when I realized it's pregnancy, I went back to her. I said, so I told you I was pregnant. This is not menopause. So when I had her at 47 and they said that she has Down syndrome, for me, it is no. I had prayed. I had fasted. God answered my prayer and gave me a daughter. You cannot tell me that my daughter is not like I want her to be. That she will not develop normally, she will have intellectual disability and that. No, it was a no. And so I was praying. I was praying for God to change Toda's condition, for God to also touch the heart of my husband so that he will not do as he's saying, send me from a banner. And so it was prayer and prayer. So until one of my reverend ministers though had told me that God can choose to change my daughter's condition, but he can also say no. This is the child I'm giving you. So what if God says no? This is the child I'm giving you, and it's not going to change Toda's condition. What was I going to do? Actually, she said, "What will you do if God says no? I will not change her condition." It dawned on me that yes, the answers to our prayers can also be no. But that time, because I was praying for Toda to change, and I was also living in denial, I didn't do any physiotherapy. It was my best friend's mother who saw that Toda was floppy, and then she said that she was going to massage her the way her mother has taught her. So every 2 days, I'll take Toda to her. She will massage her in a certain way and apply shea butter on her body, the whole of her body. And I think that was a sort of a traditional physiotherapy for her because Toda started working at 1 year and 4 months. And her doctor, Dr. Yvonne Brew, was surprised. She said that Toda has worked early as a child with Down syndrome. So this is how I did it. I didn't do physiotherapy because I live in denial. And I must say here to the parents, all of us listening to us, that as long as you live in denial, you are not helping yourself and you are not helping your child. Having a child with disability needs you to be very sound in your mind. I always say that mental health is crucial for parents and caregivers who are raising children with disability. And importantly, children with Down syndrome. You have to be very sound in your mind to accept yourself, not blame yourself that because I did that or that, because God is punishing me for that or that. And then you be sound in your mind, accept yourself, accept your child, and then move on. If you don't do that, you deny yourself the early interventions you will need to have and what you have to do for your child.
Thank you so much, Auntie Agi, for that. So yes, it may take time, but please, just as she ended, when you realize there's an issue, do seek for help. That's the purpose of us having these webinars. We would want you to be able to get to know that there is help. So what can you do? Let's take the initiative. Now, for our audiences, let me also ask you in the audience, I would need you to type out your responses. We would be reading them as we keep going. So you can share all your comments, your concerns, and all that. Today is not like our regular ones where we get to have our guests talk when they finish before we ask questions. This one, we can chip in as and when. So my first question to you is, having listened to all these things that the family has shared, that our therapist has also shared, what do you think are some simple ways in which families can encourage social interaction, especially at home? Please write out your responses in the chat box so that we get to read and others also get to learn. You may never know, someone would be reading and would be applying it. So please share your comments in the chat box so that we get to share it with others also. Okay, so I will then move on to David. So David, yes, you've talked about how you felt. You've talked about the emotions that you went through and all that and all that. Now, let me ask, what was the biggest social barrier that you encountered?
So for me, I think the biggest social barrier is the mindset. A lot of people say stigma and exclusion, but ultimately what it all boils down to is the mindset. It is how we are predisposed to accept.
Hello? Okay, so as David checks on his connection, I am still waiting for our audiences to let me understand what simple ways they think families can encourage each other in terms of social interaction at home. What are some of the things they can do to support each other? Please share with us what you think people can do. And as we all know, yesterday, the celebration of Down syndrome was worldwide. And today, we are focusing our attention on Down syndrome in the Neurodiversity Month. And the theme for this year is Together Against Loneliness. So in being together, supporting each other against loneliness, what are some of the things that families can do to be able to encourage social interaction in the house? So in your own small house or in your house, what are some of the things you can do? Please share with us in the comment section. Keep writing, share with us, and then we'll get to know. So if David has connected or reconnected or readjusted or whatever he has done to be able to help us get to hear him. David, please, you can go on and share with us.
Oh.
Okay, so as David goes on, I would read the comments in the chat box. So said one thing says that at age 46, it is very likely to have a child with intellectual disability or any other chromosomal abnormalities. Hilda also says, if only awareness creation will go a long way to accept them as normal human beings with special needs, that can increase social interaction. Nice. So please tell me how you think you can do it in your own house. We would love to hear from you. Please keep sharing. We want to read. We want to get to know. David, are you ready, please?
Yeah, so I must apologize again. This is this is very peculiar. It doesn't always happen, but I guess sometimes these things happen.
Yes, technology. Don't worry, please go on.
I know, right? I know, right? So I don't know where it got cut. So as I was saying, the biggest challenge for me has been the mindset. A lot of times you hear stigma, you hear exclusion, but for me, it all comes down to our social and our cultural orientation as Africans, not even just Ghana. Because I interact with other persons who advocate for persons with disabilities in other African countries, and I realize that there is an underlying cultural, dispensation to disabilities that cuts across almost all African countries, where we, since time immemorial, we weren't conditioned to accept people who are vulnerable because our society just did not accept people who are vulnerable because we see them as weak. And disability in our African society is one of the biggest weaknesses that you can have. And so the biggest obstacle in the healthcare provision, education, social policies, it all comes down to how we are seeing disabilities and how we perceive persons with disability. And so if we do not have so much interest in them and we do not really value them that much, then ultimately it's going to come down to the way that we set ourselves going forward in terms of providing for them and allocating resources for them. So the biggest obstacle for me has been a cultural change, has been a mindset shift, has been complete radical changes in the way that we think. And even though we are getting there small with the advocacy, you still hear, some, subtle comments that are being passed. Even some of them that they sound like they're innocuous. They sound like they are innocent, but you know that there are some undertones there. I'll give you an example. So just a few days ago, we were doing a hospital visibility and we were going to hospitals and we are trying to create awareness. So we went to the 37 military hospital and the reception we got was marvelous. The doctors were so engaged. I mean, the way they received us, it was such a great, it was such a great experience and an honor. So after we had done the program, we were asked we brought posters, with information about Down syndrome to paste around the hospital. So we had got to this particular ward. I think it had to be with the mother's ward. I think it was after they're giving birth. I don't know the word for it. I don't know it's postnatal or whatever. So we were posting on the wall and I was having a discussion with the nurse. And she said something like, this chromosome thing, it is worrying too much. She wishes we could just take away these chromosome things from the world. And I was saying that, well, we can wish for it, but it is not something that will happen because we can't control it. We don't even know what causes it. So if you are saying that we wish we could take this out to the world, then you are saying we wish persons with Down syndrome do not exist. I mean, the way she said it sounded like it was innocent, but the underlining, the undertones of it is, I wish there was nothing like Down syndrome in this world. And if our thought is to wish it was not there, instead of attacking the issues that come with this disability, then we are not moving forward. So that is, for me, my biggest obstacle.
So we need to still help ourselves. We need to learn. Thank you, Frank, for sharing what you have shared also in the comment or in the chat box. I'm going to read it. Frank says that families can be encouraged through the formation of social support groups within various communities. Yes, we encourage that a lot because when you're able to share your concern, someone has an idea or how they did this and something is working, you may be able to learn from it. So yes, please get to share ideas here so someone else can learn from you. Now I'm going to go to Lulu. Lulu, please. You are a physiotherapist. So let me ask you this. What role does mobility and motor skill development, what role does it play in helping us reduce these issues with social isolation?
Okay. We know that mobility is life. And in our setting, just like David said, there's so much cultural differences when it comes to the African region. So when a child is mobile, that child feels empowered to participate in physical activities or outdoor play or any social gathering. And the family or the parents are able to commute around with the child. But in the case where the child is immobile, now the mother will be the one having to back the child where she goes. And in cases where the child is heavy or obese, it becomes quite difficult if she doesn't have a car and she has to commute by public transport. So in that case, then she's going to leave that child indoors and go out wherever she wants to go. So that child is not going to have that exposure as compared to somebody who is mobile. So a child being mobile will have more interaction with his or her friends and also be able to engage in other social activities as compared to a child who is immobile.
So then let me ask Auntie Agi. Auntie Agi, in looking at mobility, was it easy moving around with Toda when she was younger?
Yes, it was easy because, as I said earlier on, Toda started working at a year and 4 months. So moving around with her wasn't difficult at all. Even though I must say that she didn't gain her balance at that time. Her legs were twisted some way. I mean, kind of simple, but that kind of leg. And I was told that I should put her in braces. But Dr. Brew also assured me that the legs will normalize as she grows because her weight wasn't balanced. So mobility wasn't difficult for me when she
Okay.
was.
So she was fortunate enough not to have issues or challenges with mobility. However, whenever you tend to realize that your child needs any form of support, just as Auntie Agi earlier mentioned, please seek that help for your child. So
Yes.
let me also ask Auntie Agi, I'm not going, I'm still staying with you.
I'm here with you.
So let me moment has been the most challenging for you in terms of social inclusion?
The most challenging is education.
Mm,
Toda is in her fourth school now,
mm,
and let me talk about her third school. That school was very accommodating and accepted her very well. It was a new school, and I realized that when they started, they needed students. So they accommodated. But when the school started growing, I don't know if other parents were talking or if the school did not want her anymore, because I realized that gradually they were becoming very hostile towards her. Maybe I don't know if hostile is the right word to use or is too much of a word, but eventually I had to pull her out of the school because they said that she has pushed a child. They suspended her, they caned her, and they suspended her for 1 week. So after the
wow.
week, yes, I had to look for another school for her. She stayed at home after a while, and a cousin of mine suggested I take her to the public school. So I said, okay, let me give it a try. She has gone to private school, three private schools, and all has ended that I had to withdraw her. So I took her to a public school, and I must confess that the kind of care I'm getting from that school is mind blowing. I wasn't expecting to get that from the school. When I took her to the school, she went to class 6, and the headmistress announcement that Toda is in the school and she needs them. She needs them to help her in everything that she does. She dedicated 2 students for her and she's in JHS school too. And I must say, so education is very, very important, and it is as raising children with special needs. With her primary and her education, I realized that even if the teachers are overwhelmed with other students, the teachers do not have teaching aids. They also do not have teaching assistants. So she was in diapers. So I realized that if she's in diapers and she toys herself, it is the same teacher who will have to take care of her. So I resorted to the janitor and then asked her to please take care of Toda for me. And she is not in the classroom. And so it was difficult. So education is very important for us, and it's one of our biggest challenges, not talking about health care with the cardio issues with children with Down syndrome, with their vision, and then hearing that the physiotherapist has already mentioned. Healthcare is also very important, and it is a challenge. It's a worry for parents and caregivers who are bringing up children with Down syndrome.
So now, David, let me find out from your perspective, having listened to what Auntie Agi has shared in terms of the challenges she's had in having the social inclusion and the stigma that Toda has had or has encountered. How do you think, or in what way has stigma and then a lack of awareness affected people who live with Down syndrome?
In a lot of ways. So many ways that maybe I will not be able to even mention it all here. Because when you look at children with disabilities in the urban areas, in the cities, and these people are, I mean, my mom mentioned to that changing, being in a fourth school. What she didn't add is that she went to that school, I think when she was about 12. So at 12, she had been to 4 different schools. And it's not because you are moving from city to city. You are in the same city. She's just moving from school to school because they are not able to provide her the care that they need, and they are not able to accept her. So one thing that really bothered me for a long time was she mentioned a third school. So the third school, funny enough, the proprietress of the school studied in the US in special needs education. So it's not like somebody who does not have the information or who does not know how to impact persons with disabilities. This is somebody who was trained by the very best and still couldn't because of what I would say is still our cultural orientation. It's still stigma. It's still misinformation, and it's still borderline stigma. So I would say that it affects a lot of it affects persons with disabilities in a myriad of ways. So if in the cities this is happening, I imagine what is happening in the villages where there isn't that awareness, there isn't that education. I mean, there'll be abandonment. There's going to be improper delivery of healthcare. Even the caregivers themselves who probably will see these children as curses or will see these children as some bad omen that has happened to them, they are not going to give them that the love and the attention that they need. I remember a few years ago, there was a child with cerebral palsy. I think it was around the COVID time because I was very emotional when I saw the news. So there was a child with cerebral palsy. Well, I think she was a youth, a very young lady. And she was abandoned by her caregivers, and the boys in the neighborhood were raping her. And this is somebody who had a disability. And I remember when I saw the news, I was so angry, I was so devastated. And I was just saying to myself that I mean, what world are we creating for people if the primary caregivers themselves are not even staying to take care of the children? Then we are just leaving them to be used for whatever pleasure or whatever somebody wants to use them for. And they will treat them exactly how you have treated them, like nothing, because you yourself did not value them. So I think ultimately it affects us. It affects, well, I'll say us because I'm an advocate. It affects persons with disabilities in every way possible. And so if the stigma and then the awareness is not, the stigma is not eradicated and the awareness is not broad and extensive, then we can imagine the worst for persons with disabilities.
That's a lot. So from where David ended, and in looking at you, the audiences, let me ask this question. Yes, we've talked about social inclusion and social interaction and ways we can support. You've shared your ideas as to some of the things that we can do. And I'm going to read Princess's own. She says that hobbies are a great form of bonding at home. So taking time to find what the child enjoys the most and indulging in them would also help. Thank you for sharing that, Princess. And Ramato also says that she was late, but in talking about social social inclusion, I think in our Ghanaian society we have to do a lot when it comes to social inclusion. In the first place, the society doesn't consider children with disabilities when. I'm sorry, I missed it. Let me go back. Okay. In the first place, the society doesn't consider children with disabilities when the communities are planning in terms of socialization, because they do not design recreational centers that cater to the needs of special children, as she has seen in the USA and other developed countries. Nadia also mentions that for a mother who is in the denial stage, the family should create a supportive environment that allows her to openly express emotions such as shock, sadness, or guilt. She should be reassured that these reactions are normal under the circumstances. Family members should listen to her concerns with empathy and without judgment, while gently encouraging her to seek professional help, including early intervention services to support the child's development. Okay, Eunice also says that I agree with Auntie Agnes. Some parents complain a lot if a teacher makes it a goal to help special needs learners. It takes an empathetic teacher to continue putting up with learners who have special needs while dealing with some parents. So as some of them have shared their thoughts, now to you in the audience, please do share with us, how do you think schools can foster friendship rather than just the physical part of including kids who have disabilities? How do you think that the schools in general can foster genuine friendships? So as you think about that and you type in the comment section for me, I will then jump on to Lulu. Louisa, I am back to you. So in going back to Louisa, we've talked about therapy. We've talked about policy. And in looking at what can be done, do you think that therapy sessions can be designed in a way that can encourage peer interaction? Is there a way we can design therapy sessions as such? And how can we do that?
Yes. Therapy sessions can be designed in a way to foster peer interactions. And we do that through group therapy sessions. So normally what we do is we book the cases, particular cases together. We group them together. So if it's cerebral palsy, they are together. If it's Down syndrome, they are together. Other delays, they are together. So in that case, their families or their parents or the caregivers, they also serve as support group for one another. And also among the children, we can also group them if the same condition based on their developmental milestones, what they're all able to do together, or even their ages as well, so that they can collaborate together to perform an activity, or you can assign one role for one child and the other one to also observe and partake. So group therapy sessions, but in different ways, pertaining to whatever the child is presenting with.
Nice. So from Louisa's explanation, it helps us understand that it is doable. So if it is doable, let me find out from David. In looking at it being doable, and in looking at the how practical it can be, is there any gap you have seen in terms of its implementation, David?
Yes. The gap there is big, and it keeps growing bigger and bigger and bigger, because if you look at Ghana's Disability Act and you look at the policies that have been put in place, the lawmakers, they seem to have all the information, and they seem to have the right mindset. They seem to have the right I'll just say information and laws and policies. But when it comes to implementation, that is where the problem is. So when it comes to therapy, I see that there are lots of private institutions that provide really good therapy. And I happen to see even more and more and more and more of them come up. The problem now is that a lot of these therapy, I'll say these therapy centers or these institutions that provide the therapies are located in the capital. Most of them are here in Accra. And if you are not in a certain threshold of earnings, you are not able to get these therapies for your children. But I believe that these therapies are very essential, especially when they are administered at an early age. And they should be across the country so that every Ghanaian who has a child with disability can invest in their child and provide them with the right resources for them to reach their fullest potential. So the therapy centers are there. The private ones, yes, they are there. The educators are there. The therapists themselves, they are there. The policies are there. But is it enough for every Ghanaian to be able to access? Are they accessible? Are they also affordable? If I live in somewhere, Takoradi, Techiman, Koforidua, Hohoy, and these are not even villages, so these are proper towns, developed towns. And I have a child with Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, autism. Will I be able to access these therapy centers? So that is where the gap is. The policies are there, yes. The right mindset when it comes to the things that need to be done are there. But are we implementing it? And the gap, how big is it? The gap to me is too big. And from where I sit, it keeps getting wider and wider because the government is not providing and only private institutions are providing it. So if you're not in a certain bracket of earners, you are not able to access it.
Okay, so David has shared his thoughts. We're also waiting to hear from you. The question was posed to the schools. How do you think these schools can foster genuine friendships? That is one thing that I would want to hear from you. And Seth has mentioned something in the comment box. Please let me read it before I go to Auntie Aggie. So Seth says that in our jurisdiction, mental health is not encouraged. And as a result of this, stigmatization is breaking down a lot of efforts needed to be given to people living with mental illnesses. And he also adds up by saying that I think the idea of grouping them according to their conditions may be another problem to which the sufferers would be having in mind that they belong to a particular group and may prevent them from associating themselves with with any other person. Okay, so that's what David thinks. Let me just shift this in slightly. I think in terms of what Louisa was saying, you know what, when someone gets to school and the person has no idea what to do and how to do something, the person gets to have a buddy. So in a way, helping people get to connect, get to know that I am not alone.
Mm.
I am working with someone. I am in this with others. So yes, if this person is moving on, it's a way of also encouraging me to also move on. And that person tends to be like a guide. I think that was what Louisa was helping us to understand in terms of how doing group sessions and things helps others. And yes, that's how come we also tend to have these things with social skills clubs. They are there to help our kids get to learn something. So whenever you hear of a social skills club, please make use of it because they are there to help us get the needed skill and support for our kids that we work with. Okay. So as we wait to listen to what you think schools can do, now I'm going to move on to Auntie Aggie. Auntie Aggie, so please share with
Yeah.
us what support system or what strategy has helped you to feel more connected to Toda or to persons. Let me widen it, not just to Toda, but to persons living with Down syndrome.
Um, Thank you. So actually, after I've come through my shell of depression and have gone over the shock of raising my child with disability alone and being single and with no support from my husband, and then it was difficult. So I told myself, and even the struggle of for acceptance that I have a child with disability made me start advocating for persons with disability. I realized that other persons might be going through what I had gone through, and from the experiences that I've had from my journey, I said to myself that I wasn't going to sit down and see people suffer like I did. So I was going to tell my story and share my experiences with them, just to encourage them that if your child is diagnosed with Down syndrome, it is not the end of the world. So I started with Toda Connect Foundation, which I did with my son David. And then this has grown into the Down Syndrome Association of Ghana. I must also confess that having a supportive family is important on this journey, especially after the diagnosis. If family members hold hands with you and then push you ahead, it makes it easier. I must say that without my family, I wouldn't have been where I am today. I see members of my family. Nyemita will be on me. I say good evening to you. Nyechumi, Nyechumka. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I see members of my family on the call, and I must say that I appreciate you so much. You have held hands with me. You have told me that leave him. If he doesn't like you, leave him. We are here for you, and you have made me who I am today. So I just wanted to encourage other parents, support them, and tell them that you are not on this journey alone. Your daughter is floppy. Mine is floppy as well. She was, and this is how she has become today.
Thank you, Auntie Aggie, for sharing that with us. And she was giving funds to her family members, which is good because without the support system, it would have been very, very difficult. So I'm going to go to Louisa and ask her, Lulu, please, we've heard about the need for support, the need for therapy. We've talked about schools, we've talked about therapy. Yes, there are some challenges or some barriers that would prevent our children who have diverse needs from achieving certain goals that they need to achieve in, or to participate in certain physical activities that they would need to participate in. But let me ask that, how do you think schools and parents can have an integration of these therapy sessions or these therapeutic exercises into our regular, normal social play-based things?
I think when it comes to the educational setting, but David also enlightened us that the third school that stood out was in that proprietor was even trained in special needs, but unfortunately, the outcome wasn't a pleasant one. But more education out there, more awareness, and also sometimes we incorporate therapy sessions in the child's educational activity, so that some children that maybe they require some assistive devices for use in the classroom. Let's say that the child needs a special chair or an assistive device or a standing frame.
Mm-hmm.
That child can use that in the classroom, but will have an assistant, so that if the child is tired of standing for maybe about an hour or 30 minutes, then maybe now the child can resort to sit in a special chair or something. So sometimes some of these mothers who can afford, they make some of these devices and send it to the school, and also have some at home, so that whilst in school in the classroom, the child can also participate in learning. And it all depends on the setting in the classroom as well. Some classrooms are there, or some schools are there. They don't make provision for some of these things to be done in the schools. But for those that allow, we advise the mothers to do some of these things for them. Because not every child can sit in a particular chair or the normal chair that they sit in the classroom to learn. And even some of the ways of learning, some may not benefit other children. So there are also different ways or different techniques that they can also use. So when it comes to the
Hello, Louisa. I think you are muted.
please, can I be heard now?
Yes.
Oh, so also I was muted, eh?
No, not all this while. You
Oh,
when it comes to the schools.
okay, thank you. So when it comes to the school, the decision on incorporating therapy sessions in the school or the classrooms is a team-based decision. Basically, the family, the therapist, as well as the educators. Then we draw a plan on what we can do to help some of these children. And I know that for those who can afford, sometimes when you go to the schools, certain adjustments are made, depends on the kind of profile or the person you're dealing with. Certain adjustments are made in the setting in the classroom or in the school to make it convenient for the child to also participate in outdoor activities or become mobile around in the school.
Thank you so much for that. So, with what Louisa just shared with us, Nadia is adding up in terms of schools and what can be done. And she says schools can offer genuine friendship by ensuring a safe, supportive environment that prevents bullying and allows every child to feel accepted and valued. Teachers should also be well informed about disabilities in order to provide the necessary basic support to children with disabilities. Then I'll move on to the next comment from Dr. Mabel. She says, we also need to change our language when it comes to disability and neurodiversity. Down syndrome is not an illness, but a genetic difference or disability. They are not sufferers of the condition, but lack of support and lack of accommodation can make them suffer. Changing our language will help us to reset and reduce stigma. Mamia also adds that I think schools should use PTA meetings as a place to educate parents on children with disabilities or neurodivergent children, as well as children living with non-communicable conditions like sickle cell and asthma. The stigma cuts across all these conditions. Then she tops up by saying that the children themselves can be educated. We have sessions with some JHS students so they can support colleagues and siblings. So yes, in advocacy, it's not just about we coming to sit here or finding some time to talk or share things. We can do it anywhere and everywhere we find ourselves. So please, whatever we learn from here, let's help others get to learn it also. Let's share, let's encourage, let's get people to understand. That is why we say that we have all our recordings available on our YouTube channel where you can reshare, share and share and share, and let others also get to learn. On the YouTube channel, the name is Parent Connect. So you just go on to Parents Connect, type Parents Connect on YouTube, and you can have access to all our webinars that we've had over the period. Now, let me ask you as the audience, are there community programs that you think families can tap into? Do you know of any? Please write it in the chat box. I will go and come back and read it. Please share with us what you know in terms of community programs that families can tap into. Please share. Okay. Now, it looks like I have left David for a while. So let me go back to David. David. Peer
Hello.
networks
Yes,
and
I'm
support.
here.
Thank you for being there. So looking at peer networks and support groups, do they play a role in combating loneliness?
They do. They do a lot.
How?
They do.
Please help us.
So yes. So Toda is she likes to dance. So I think in the comments somebody mentioned something about finding out what their hobbies and their interests are, and pushing them in that direction. So once you find out what your child who has a disability enjoys to do, you should try and push them in a group that also do that exact activity. So Toda, she likes to dance. So from a very early age, we used to take her to ballet lessons. And we realized that she was meeting other children and she was engaging with them, and they were forming a bond. I remember when she was young, she had a friend called Michaela in a ballet class. And Michaela, at a young age, had started advocating for persons with Down syndrome. I don't think she was even older than 10. And then she'd be telling other people, this is my friend, she has Down syndrome. And so I realized that just by the interaction that they were having with other children or their peers, whether they also had any condition or not, was a good bonding experience for them. It made them socialize more, and it also created advocates for our cause without even having to ask them to. So having them be a part of a peer group which engages in the similar activities is very important to creating social inclusion.
Thank you so much for sharing that, David. We appreciate it. So then I am also going to ask Auntie Agi. Auntie Agi, David has shared something that you did with Toda. Help her get to dance because she enjoys that very much. So what kind of support do you think parents need to give to be able to support their kids?
Yes, in connection with the theme for this year's World Down Syndrome Day, as Down Syndrome International released it, Together Against Loneliness.
Yes, yeah.
I was reflecting Together Against Loneliness with my life and my daughter. I realized that I have been her pillar with her brother. I realized that when parents and caregivers are alive, our children, after we have gone through the stage of denial and we have accepted our children, the bonding is there. We will stop at nothing but to make sure that our children are getting the care that they have. But I also thinking that what about when we are no longer here? And with my journey with Toda, I have seen older persons or adults with Down syndrome loitering about, working like people who don't have care and don't have anybody to take care of. So the loneliness is even much stronger when they are adults and they have nothing to be doing and nowhere to go to. So I told myself that what am I going to do with Toda so that when I'm longer that no longer here and I live here with her brother will find will not worry too much for what Toda will be doing. So I put her in a dance class. She's actually with the All Stars Dance Ensemble dance group that she belongs to. They attend to programs and then she goes. I send her to the program and I pick her up later when they are finished with the program. And every Friday, she does not go to school, but she goes to assist in a restaurant in their kitchen. I also see that so I take her to the restaurant every Friday so that she assists them in the kitchen in order for her to have a vocation. I've not decided yet. I was thinking as we are that if I should take her to a vocational school after she's done with JHS, or I should make her full time with her work at the restaurant. So this is what I want for her. If I'm no longer here, that her brother will take her to her workplace and then pick her up in the evening. That she'll be able to care for herself. If she has everything, she can cook for herself. She can take care of her own room and she can do everything for herself with little supervision. This curbs loneliness so that she'll be included in everything today, right from her infancy till she's an adult person with Down syndrome. She'll find something to do meaningful that she will not find herself lonely.
Nice. So, as Auntie Agi has mentioned, she's trying to see how best she can help Toda get to fit and find something that is of interest to Toda and balance her life, being able to get a skill. So, to you in our audience, what does an ideal inclusive community, what does it look like to you? Please share with us in the comment section or in the chat box what an ideal inclusive community looks like in your perspective. Please share with us. And yes, when I did ask for the support system or mechanism, I did mention about you going to going to on YouTube, you can type in Parent Professional Connect. Fortunately, Dr. Marvel has given us the link in there. So please, you can just click on the link and it sends you straight there. You have access to all the webinars we've had. Please do share, do like, do help others get to learn, because that is what we need. People learning, getting the right information. Mame has added another one. She says school, but it's not the typical spelling of school. It's a speech therapy app by Ming or a speech and language therapist. So it's a speech and language therapist that came up with that. All right. So Seth also shares something. Seth says that school is the avenue to which stigma grows very wild. Stigma comes in so many forms, and one is giving them a special class. As we all know, as we all know in learning, he's suggesting that if they are placed in the same class with those who do not have that condition, it would influence their learning capabilities because he believes that they would learn from the others as time goes on. And if they are put together with their mates, so he's talking about inclusion, it gives the same opportunities to others. And it's a way of also reducing the stigma that may be there or may occur. So Seth has shared his experience or his thoughts on it as to having an inclusive setting where the kids, and yes, the inclusive education policy does state that. So now you share with us your ideal inclusive community. What does that look like in your perspective? As we are about to round off, you can, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please. It's not just about the things that I ask you. You can also ask us questions, and then we get to ask our panelists. If you would like to also raise your hand to share something, please, we can definitely let you on mute and then you go ahead. Just show by using the raise hand button and then we go on. So Louisa, I'm going to go to you. Let's say if this is your final question from me, but probably not from the audiences. But for me, have you seen any improvements in emotional well-being that is linked to physical progress? If you have, can you share? Okay, Louisa, if you are talking, you are currently muted.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Yes. Improvements in emotional well-being is currently linked to physical progress, and I've seen a lot. I might say that every child wants to feel loved, wants to feel cared for, wants to have that sense of belonging and that connection. So by that empathy and that connection that these children tend to get from maybe their families or their parents or their caregivers, it boosts their self-esteem and their confidence. And they're able to participate in social activities or interact with other peers or other people instead of isolating themselves. And sometimes, let's say, in a case where you have both parents are involved, like the mother and the father involved in the child's upbringing, maybe today the mother brings the child for therapy, or sometimes have both parents bring the child for therapy, and the father is singing and the mother is playing, or like they are all involved in what we are doing for the child. You tend to see much improvement in the child's development compared to the case where maybe it's just a single parent and that person is burdened and has no support or people to like stand with her in attending to the child. There's a lot of difference. So when we have the case where maybe there is so much emotional support attached to the child, it also boosts the child confidence and also improve in their physical function and their physical activity as well.
So support is crucial. Thank you
Yes,
so
especially
much.
both parents. Yeah, it's very, very important. I think the men should be involved. The men, sometimes all the burden tend to fall on the women or the mothers alone, and the men sometimes, just like Auntie Agi shared her story, tend to leave the burden for the women alone. It's not just Down syndrome, but cut across all other forms of disabilities.
So with Louisa's concern that she has just shared, it is prompting me to give you a gist of what we are going to be having next month. You know, next month is ASD month, right? Yeah. So we are having something with our fathers next month. Please stick with us. When we are ending, we'll share with you what we have in mind. So I'm going to move on to David. David, please share with us. How do you think individuals, be it teachers, be it employers, be it peers, be it family members, be it anyone and everyone, how do you think we as individuals can become better allies for our kids who live with Down syndrome?
Thank you. Better allies. I think first of all is by showing empathy. I read a quote some time back. I don't know if I got it wrong, but I think it said empathy is the highest form of intelligence or something like that. And it's something that I live by. I feel like if you can put yourself in somebody's shoes and feel what they are feeling when they are cold, when they are hot, you're able to tell, then you are better able to be that person's ally. So the best way we could show more empathy or we can build our empathy is to get closer to these people. So the more you get closer to them, you can listen to them, you can have interactions with them, then you know what exactly it is to be a caregiver or to even be a person living with that condition. So the other way I feel like we could be good allies is to not just be, this is a very famous Sunday school phrase, not just be hearers of the word, but be doers of the word. So I think Dr. Mabel said something about even the language that we use. And I realized that there are so many subtle things that when you start making those changes, then you know that you are indeed changing. You know that there's something that is shifting in your own mindset. So once you can even start speaking with more respect towards persons with disabilities, then you can tell that gradually your mindset is shifting. So for us to get better allies, number one, I'll say we need to build our empathy. Number two, the awareness that we are creating, we need to not only be people who hear, but we implement it in our everyday lives. And then also, people say that we ask too much of the government, but I mean, I feel like that is the only way we can really make a change. It's when it is being passed through laws and it is being enforced. So I believe the other way we could have better allies is when we have no choice than to be an ally. So when it is passed through law and we are pushing, we can be an ally. The other way, I always say that the LGBTQ community is one of the most confusing communities for me, because almost everybody is against it. Every religion is against it, but they keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and it is because they don't stop with the noise making. They don't stop investing in it. They don't stop with the advocacy. So much so that now they've even taken the rainbow colors away from us. So I believe the best way we can have allies is when we have a lot of people putting effort to make sure that the information is out there. It's on social media, it's on traditional media, there's representation in movies and adverts. Everywhere we are showing persons with disability, and we are not only showing that the disability, but we are showing the abilities that they have. So representation is key in media, in social media, traditional media. And I think that if we keep seeing them, we'll have no choice than to accept them.
Okay. So thank you all for that. I'm going to read what we have in our chat box. Mommy says therapy is expensive and some of us just can't keep up. Nadia adds up by saying that an ideal inclusive classroom is one where every child, regardless of their abilities, is given the opportunity to bring out their best in a way that supports their well-being and allows them to contribute positively. It is a classroom where accommodations are provided for all learners, not just a selected few. So that's Nadia's thoughts on what makes an ideal inclusive classroom. So, Auntie Aggie.
Yes.
And we are about to end our discussion for today. And I would like you to have the final word. What would you like to share with us?
Hello. Please say
Yes.
that again.
So I am asking that we are about to end our discussion
Yes.
for today.
Yes.
What would you like to share with us as parting comments or words? What would you like to say to us? What should we take home?
Yes. Lastly, I want to thank you for this opportunity. And I want everybody here, our audience, to hold hands with us on our journey of advocacy. We cannot do it alone. If you had a child, if you have a child with a person with disability close to where you live, all we need is your love and acceptance. As David has said already, empathy. And here where I live, just opposite my house, there was this lady who will not let her children play with soda because she thinks, I think that she thinks that soda's condition is infectious and her children can be infected with it. I think that is what goes on in our classrooms, and that is what necessitates some schools rejecting our children because parents do not want their children to live in the same class with the person with disability. We cannot do it alone. So all of you, I'm pleading with you to hold hands with us as we walk this journey, as this challenging journey of bringing children with special needs. I must also recommend Mission Pediatrics for the wonderful job you are doing. Dr. Mabel is only a phone call away from me. Whenever I call her, she will come. And interestingly, my program that she has attended, she comes very early. Before everybody arrives, she is there. And I'm very grateful with all her team. I'm so, so grateful. I pray God to give you the strength to do what you are doing for the disability community. I might also say that if you have a child with Down syndrome or a child of any kind of disability, you are not alone. Pediatrics has a parent support system for all of us. And if you want a peer support group, we are here. Down Syndrome Association of Ghana. You can contact us even through Mission Pediatrics. They have our contact. You can contact us so that we hold hands with you. We will tell you that you are not on this journey alone. Your child is floppy. Mine was floppy as well, but she has attained all these things. They will attain but at a slower pace. And thank you so much again for the opportunity. And for David, he told me that he was near depression. I never knew. He's telling me on this platform. I know that he has challenges. He will always complain. You are posting pictures that are not nice. You are doing this, you are doing this. I don't want my face on social media. I don't want you on social media. I didn't know that all that time he was dealing with himself. I thought that I had raised him. I raised him as a single parent. His story I'll tell another day. I raised him as a single parent. So I was expecting him, with all the investment that I've made in him, that he should also help me take care of his sister. Little did I know that he was also struggling with acceptance of a sibling who has Down syndrome. And then I was thinking that even this evening, I was thinking that maybe he will meet, he will marry, and then I don't know what his potential wife, if the lady accepts my son David, I don't know what his family will say. Hey, na papa we are worry need here. So you know what disability. Now I'm a woman what disability will see her. So it is challenging for siblings. I must also say that parents who are here, let's also be patient with our children, much as we deal with accepting our children. They also have this same challenge of dealing with acceptance. So let's also have patience with them and then also encourage them as we encourage ourselves so that we accept the diagnosis. Last one, health workers. Health
I
workers.
think let's know. Wow, but go on, please. Please
This is the last one. Health workers.
go on.
Sometimes when you give us information that our children have this disability or the other, it's not heartwarming. And parents share their story. So uba we dear men share no now o me share ma that kind. Especially when they have hole in heart and you don't have money to um, cater for their welfare. one parent told him that the doctor told her that you should leave the child to fate, so that whatever happened to the child will happen, because the child there, me sure say obey. So I know mission pediatrics, more no dear, more you speak with them with all the empathy. So health workers will also pleading with you that you know the choose your words kindly, how you interact with that, because you're already confused with ourselves. So little things that pushes us to the wall. So be empathetic and be patient with us. Thank you so much again for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. A big thank you to you all. Thank you to Louisa. Thank you, Auntie Agi. Thank you so much, David. Each of you shared your experiences, you shared your ideas, you helped us understand things related to Down syndrome. We are grateful that you took the time to be able to share with us. And yes, we couldn't have done this without our audiences. So yes, we thank you all for making time to join us today so we discuss this important topic on our Neurodiversity Month. Before I go, I mentioned that I would like to share something with you. So yes, next month, just as we announced in last month's on when we had our rare diseases, when we talked about our Neurodiversity Month focusing on Down syndrome. Next month is the month of ASD awareness. And yes, at Mission Pediatrics, we have a lineup of activities coming up, a whole lot, I must say. Right down from radio interviews, discussions, helping our young ones get to learn in their various institutions that they are in, the schools. We also would be coming up with something on our parents, with our parents, and on our Parents Professional Connect, we would be discussing with our fathers. Yes, over the years, we've always had our mothers, right? But next month, please come listen to our fathers. What has the journey been? How has it been so far for them? What has it entailed? What were some of the things that they did? What changes did they have to put in place? We will get to ask them all of this. And yes, please do tell a friend to tell a friend, and do share anything that you would like to share with us. So I would read the final comments that I see here from Ameli. Ameli says, I do differentiated assignments. Okay, so in terms of the classroom related things that we can do to support. She says that I do differentiated assignments, more skilled projects, crafts, and hands-on. So she includes her nephew in school, and I beg you, let me take my time and read it well. Okay, so she includes her nephew in school, home, and everything. The nephew is actually 47 years and self-reliant. So yes, there's a lot that can be done. Thank you for sharing that, Auntie Amelie. And David posted the last comment, so that is going to be our last comment for today. She says, thank you so much. He says, thank you so much, Ida, Dr. Mabel, Louisa, Auntie again, everyone involved in putting this webinar together. God bless you abundantly. Thank you too for appreciating us. We are grateful for that. And thank you to everyone. Please, we hope to see you next month, the 4th Sunday of next month. And do share with others. Do let them know that next month is a Father's Month on our ASD program that we'll be having on the Parents Professional Connect. Please do have a great evening. Enjoy the rest of the week. Don't forget to watch our videos on our Parent Professional Connect on YouTube. Enjoy it, like it, share it, and help others get to learn, as we always encourage you to. Thank you all so much. Have a good evening, everyone. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night. Good night. And thank you very much.